Greetings, Naysayer Nation. We are back after about 20 years hiatus for the Aftershow Podcast.
Yeah.
With your favorite two old men. Well, one ancient man, one still young man in his prime. That's getting closer and closer to Unk status. I am, of course, Sadot The Gamer, joined by the one and only JayShockblast. How you feeling? How you feeling, my friend? I know it's been rough for you the past few weeks.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Like when this is what you like rely on for work, like sitting at a desk and doing all this stuff, and everything kind of gets pulled out from under you. I woke up, I think it was like 3 weeks ago at this point. I woke up on a Sunday morning, and I just went to stand up, and everything was on fire. I couldn't walk more than 2 steps without like the intense pain. I was bawling my eyes out. I think I couldn't walk. Like, it was awful. So we went to the urgent care. They gave me a shot of whatever, relieved the pain a little bit, and gave me some like muscle relaxers, light painkillers. I didn't even get Vicodin. I got like naproxen.
Oh, not even the good stuff.
Yeah, I didn't even really get any good stuff, but it just, and the part that sucks is I was supposed to go to Borderlands Fest in LA, and it became very apparent as Tuesday rolled along that was not going to happen, and it sucks because I had to like talk to Gearbox and 2K and be like, there's no physical way my body can handle that. And they were so gracious to work with. Like they offered to, like, well, what if you like kind of co-stream it? You know, we can still like do the contract that way. Because there's no way to get me to play it at home.
Right.
I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm fine if I don't get paid. I don't even think I can handle that, you know, just sitting there for 2.5 hours. So, yeah, it was brutal because that was one my wife was going to come with me on. And after the Borderlands stuff was done, we were going to go to San Diego and catch a Padres game. And then we were going to come back up to LA for an Angels game and do some other stuff. I think in San Diego, there's like a SEAL tour you could take, like on a boat, that my wife was looking into. So yeah, that definitely that sucked. But you know, they were cool. They actually still sent me a sweet swag box, including this Nerf Borderlands gun. My brother like figured out how to work it. I haven't. But yeah. I can't complain as far as that's concerned. They still kind of thought about me and sent me like these gunner optic glasses.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, they're kind of cool. You just take the glare off. Well, the gunners are really popular.
Well, in solidarity, I did not watch any of the streams.
Oh,
I was like, if it's not JayShockblast, fuck them. I'm not watching.
I did watch. I watched Moxie. I met Moxie. I met him at the Redfall event.
Great guy. Very nice guy.
Yeah, he's super cool dude. And I met him a couple times after that. So I watched him. And what really felt like, I'm going to be honest, watching him, and when I said something in chat, him actually seeing it and saying, "Aw, Jay, I'm so sorry you're not here." Like, honestly, like, that felt really good. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is.
I mean, you're the great JayShockblast. Everybody missed you, Jay.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, it sucks that I couldn't make it, but like, I couldn't do like most, like, literally sitting in my chair, like, hurt. I've spent more time in bed the last like 3 weeks than I probably have in the last year. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, you would have had to basically get yourself like a standing bed straitjacket setup.
Yeah. I guess it was like sciatica or like the sciatic nerve is what they're saying. It basically just shoots all the way down from your back to your leg.
Yeah, it's like an old people thing.
I guess. So that yeah, it sucked. I'm like not all the way back. Like it like I can get around and everything and it's fine. But the thing that like sucks is when I drive, the way that the car seat is built, it like digs directly into that nerve that's bothering me. So it like after a little bit it starts to hurt to drive. So like I've ridden in the car with my wife driving more than I ever have in our 10 years together. And that was almost as painful and scary as, um, you know,
whoa, bigot. Women can drive too.
Not mine.
Oh no, she's one of those.
No, it is fine. It's just weird though, because like I drive everywhere. I always drive.
Personally, I'm a feminist. I make women drive me everywhere. Yeah. I refuse. I'm an ally, so as an ally, I refuse to drive when there is a woman in the car. I make sure that she is always driving me around because I am just that progressive.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. You know, we made it through, and it's on to the next one. I'm just appreciative of Gearbox and 2K because like they were super understanding, and like you know,
whoa. We're not going to have any fake news in this chat. I am an amazing driver. I am one of the best at driving arcade video games you will ever see. And I barely crash in GTA. I don't drive by choice. There's a difference.
I do like driving. So it's, you know, it's I'm a bad passenger though, I'll tell you that. I've admitted that. Like riding with my brother whenever he drives, it's like it's scary. I can't handle it.
I'm the best passenger. I just sit back, look out the window, play some good music, and take a nap.
You know? Yeah, I hold on to the oh shit handle the whole time.
Oh no! You sound terrible.
I mean, to be fair, my brother has a lead foot and drives very aggressively for no reason. So he's getting a little bit better.
My dad used to drive really fast. He's slowed down a bit in his old age.
Yeah, he does not like driving in the city, and this week he did actually drive us to Boston to see Jurassic World Rebirth.
Shout out to Jurassic.
Yeah, I was actually supposed to see it like 3 days before I went to LA, but I couldn't. I'm like, I can't do it, you know. So they're like, oh, we have another one, like 2 days or 2 or 3 days before it comes out. So we got that.
Is what I don't have a car by choice. All you suckers paying your car insurance and all this, y'all can have all that. I prefer to not have to deal with any of that bullshit.
My car's paid off, so I'm cool.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I could have bought a car many times over, but I'm like, what's the point? I'm mostly here. You know, this is my job is here in my house playing video games. So I would mostly just never use it. only time I ever have to go anywhere that requires a car is like if I want to go to a movie, which isn't even that often. Going to a movie, you know, I usually have a pirate ship for that or streaming service, or like a rare occasion where I have to run an errand. So if I had a car, it would literally just be sitting there.
Yeah,
in my driveway.
my car was my first ever YouTube flex. I that was when that was when the Lego games were pumping out. I was getting like tons of videos done, and I also was working full time at Bose. So I got a brand new 2014 Ford Explorer.
Straight cash on me.
Yeah. And it had 3 miles on it, and that was from loading it in, I guess. So, but I also made a mistake back then because I didn't realize this. It didn't have Bluetooth. I'm like, so I'll just get a new stereo later on. I'm not going to pay. There's like an extra $3,000 for the XL package, which would have had like leather seats and a sunroof, and I didn't want any of that.
Wow.
But it also had the Bluetooth. Well, because I was worried about the dog like messing up the leather seats. So I ended up not doing it. Come to find out, in order to get the radio taken out in a Ford Explorer, you literally have to disassemble the entire dashboard and like do brain surgery basically.
Well,
So I've like never had Bluetooth in my car, and it's annoying.
So that car is just ass. Okay.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. As anime fans, including you, are you excited for My Hero Academia? Just says, I'm excited as an anime fan for this current summer season because holy shit is it stacked. It's got, not only do we have a bunch of new anime coming out, but we have like a fuck ton of sequels coming back. We got new season of Don is coming back. Of course, we got the My Hero Academia. We got the new Demon Slayer movie coming back. We got Kaiju number 8, My Dress Up Darling. This is going to be absolute peak watching hours if you're an anime enjoyer. 100%. But what's up, the rest of you weirdos in chat hanging out on a Sunday listening to us yap? What's up, Eastwood, Ryan? Shout out to Geo, Captay, Gabe, even though you're spreading fake news about my driving skills. What's up, Ski? How's everyone doing? Hope you all
say congrats to Gabe on the chip. His Thunder 1.
Oh yeah, shout out to the NBA champion Indiana Pacers for we'll give you that we got to put an asterisk on that one.
I don't that was tough, but I don't know if you know, Gabe, if you actually go on Fanatics right now, they make like hold on, I'll just show it. I got this for the Celtics last year and I love it.
Oh, so it's terrible. Don't do it.
No, it's the Funko Pop 5-pack, and apparently there's a code that you can use right now, Spark, and you get 30% off. So instead of $100, it's 70.
Oh, there
it's got Shea, Dort, Chet, Caruso, and Jalen. Wow, that's a weak lineup.
Wonder which one of them they're gonna have to trade to afford them. Their owner won't pay the luxury tax.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. I mean, the Celtics, they had to disassemble a bit, so
yeah, that was more so over injury. Yeah, that was more so over the injury.
They were gonna have to pay like $270 million in luxury tax, which is fucking insane.
Yeah, I think it was just hard to justify that when Tatum is going to miss like the entire year. The East is completely like blown all the way up by that. Yeah, it's legitimately a Wild West out there. We just got who knows what the Sixers are going to be doing. If they can get healthy, like pretty much anyone's guess who's going to come out of the East. I mean, as well as Milwaukee, that team is clearly ass. even with poaching Miles Turner, but the Knicks, the Cavs, the Hawks had a really great offseason. The Magic, they're really good. It literally it's like a toss up between like 5 or 6 teams in the East. Who knows?
Yeah.
Looking forward. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I hope they get rid of the CBA. I hate this new CBA. It's fucking
I don't get it. I just these super contracts are insane.
Yeah. It just felt like they just unfortunately let the poor teams dictate terms this time around, and they convinced themselves that, oh, this was going to be like good for ratings. Spoiler alert, it was not. the ratings fucking tanked. Yeah, they need to reverse it because not only did it not help the ratings, but now you're in a situation where good teams have to literally gut their entire roster just to save money. Like it's nonsense. They need to reverse this immediately.
I mean, I understand the point of a salary cap, but like, it's just crazy that like even like, I mean, we've got Tatum and Brown both on like supermax deals, you know. Yeah. So how are you supposed to have anybody else?
Yeah, exactly. Like you want. They always have owners bitching about oh, we want to be able to keep our homegrown players. Well, now look at Boston. They had 2 superstars that were homegrown, got in the draft, and now because of the new rules, they have to maybe trade one of them or just blow up the team around them instead of trying to run it back and compete for titles because they have to save fucking money because of the new CBA. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think it's the same as Major League Baseball because like small market teams in Major League Baseball absolutely milk the system. Like the Tampa Bay Rays every year, like they just trade everybody and take all the luxury tax money instead. Like they are competitive, but like there are teams that they are not. They're there to make money, not compete. Yeah. You know, they're not serious organizations.
Yeah, and that's bad. And I think that's bad for any league. And it feels like the NBA incentivized everyone. It's basically incentivized owners to just be fucking cheap asses and be like, oh well, I would love to compete, but my hands are tied here.
Yeah.
But we're not going to try to catch up on everything we missed, but we do got some big stuff we got to address because we had quite a week of news. We got to talk about the absolute bloodbath over at Xbox, and we also talk about the latest rumors around the Venom game and Marvel Rivals Season 3 is right around the corner. Launches the same day, I believe, as Superman, which I will absolutely looking forward to watching in theaters.
We're seeing that on Tuesday.
Yeah, on Tuesday. Yeah, I have my tickets. I think I have my tickets for the 10th. On third. What's the Thursday? The 10th? Is Thursday the 10th?
Yes.
Yeah, I have my 3D tickets for the 10th. Yeah, yep.
Ooh, 3D, huh?
I mean, I'm not going to say no to 3D. It was just right there.
I don't like 3D. I don't know. I've never watched a 3D movie that I enjoyed that aspect of it.
I've the only 3D movies that I've seen that I can recall off the top of my head were like Avatar, and that was amazing. So I've always been like a 3D enjoyer. So if I have an excuse to watch a movie in 3D, I definitely take it. I'm definitely a 3D believer.
I'm actually for Fantastic Four. My wife and I are going to. My wife and I are going to go down to New York City, and we're going to see Fantastic Four at the AMC in Times Square with Free Willy Rocks.
Fantastic! Is this your first time meeting Willie in person?
Yeah. Very excited.
I hope he's not a serial killer.
I mean, I'll have my wife to protect me.
True. If anything goes wrong, you can just hide behind her. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine.
I'm not too worried. Willie's the best.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He brought up the idea of wanting to do it. I said, oh, New York City's not that far. If you do that, I would absolutely drive down for it. Because like I say that to people all the time. Oh, if you're gonna be in New York City, then let me know, and if I can pull it off, it's not that hard of a drive, you know.
Yeah,
I like meeting people.
Yeah, Jay is all about the collaborations IRL, and this will be the latest one. I'm looking forward to seeing all the pictures. Yeah, I hear Jurassic World. Yeah, it's great. It's crazy. These movies. I heard this one in particular was actually better than the other ones, the other slop sequels, but it's also it was looking rough at first, but now it looks like it's going to be another $1 billion movie. These movies just print money. People just love
it's dinosaurs.
Love the dinosaurs.
I'm not like a big Jurassic fan. I thought this movie was really solid. It's very much like an on rails video game. It's like very straight to the point. There's only really 2 subplots that merge. Sometimes there are movies where there's like something's happening here, and here. They do a good job of kind of like streamlining it and keeping it together.
So it's just a competent movie.
Yeah, like it's a solid summer blockbuster flick. Easy 7.
So you need. Oh, that's all you need. So this should be a good summer for movie theaters between Jurassic World and Superman and Fantastic Four. Yeah, this should be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. I'm probably going to end up seeing all 3. Definitely going to be seeing Superman in theaters. Probably Fantastic Four as well. I'm gotta support the local theater a little bit, and a little excuse to get out and about. But yeah, what's going on? What's going on at your company, Jay? You're on the board of directors at Xbox, and things take a turn. We had reports the last couple of weeks that there would be another big round of layoffs, and people weren't quite some people weren't quite convinced that the layoffs would be this big. Usually Xbox has had some significant layoffs before, but this was like Microsoft wide. The total ended up being over 9,000 people.
Wow.
laid off from Xbox. Reportedly, Microsoft actually this will make a certain demographic particularly pissed. Reportedly, Microsoft was particularly trying to clean house in order to put together an AI infrastructure for the future. So that was big part of the motivation for them wanting to fire a bunch of people, and also there was like more increased pressure on Xbox to show some profitability. So they just ended up just gutting like whole studios, whole projects, even some like there. So obviously there's people. It always sucks when people lose their jobs. Some games like clearly is like, okay, well, I can understand. Like if your game is like 10 years in development and it's not showing progress, then yeah, it's kind of understandable. But at the same time, it was like that. Like there was one report from Jay Schreier that Project Blackbird, which was this MMO, MMO being developed at
ZeniMax.
At ZeniMax. Apparently, the game was so good that Phil Spence, when they were presenting it in a meeting, so Matt Booty had to like physically remove the controller from Phil Spencer's hand because he was having so much fun with the game.
Yeah, I don't understand how we get to a cancellation point when you hear a story like that and it's like so close.
Yeah, it's like, oh, what the fuck, bro?
But I mean, like, let's be real. Is anybody shocked Perfect Dark got canceled?
I mean that was the least surprising. Like when I saw Perfect Dark was canceled, initiatives was shut down, I was like, well, obviously.
I wanted to make jokes, but then I was like, it's tasteless, so no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, the tough thing, is actually unfortunate. I covered this in my video this week about the Venom rumors. Brian Horton, he was at Insomniac. he was currently serving. He was at one point serving as the creative director on Wolverine, and he ended up getting caught up in the like departures from Insomniac. They had a couple of people leave for CD Projekt Red, but from the Wolverine game, but Horton stepped down from creative director, and instead of going to CD Projekt Red, he ended up going to the Initiative to be the new creative director on Perfect Dark. And when I read that, I was like, oh no, because I was talking to Miller. One of the times Miller was here, he was catching us up on kind of what was going on at Crystal Dynamics and stuff like that. And he hadn't heard many good things at Crystal Dynamics in particular, or on Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark's been having problems all the time, particularly on Initiative. The reason why Crystal Dynamics is involved is because things at the Initiative were like such a shit show that they had to call in Crystal Dynamics to at first help, but then they kind of just were largely running the project at that point because Initiative were having so many problems. They were just having mass layoffs while trying to get this Perfect Dark thing off the ground, and it just never came together. Apparently, the gameplay showcase they had at the Xbox show for Perfect Dark was like mostly fake. It was like one of those, they basically pulled a Cyberpunk where they didn't show like a real gameplay build of the game. It was just kind of like something programmed slapped together to give you an idea of what it should look like if it was in a remotely presentable state. Apparently there was like no real progress being made on that game, and that being shut down, and that was the least surprising thing. Like they should have shut that project down like 3 years ago.
Yeah, because we've heard behind the scenes for a long time that game was in rough shape.
Really bad. That was really worse than Wonder Woman. Like it was fucking bad.
And if you think you have to wonder, like Crystal Dynamics, and we're like 2 months away from it being the 5-year anniversary of the last time they shipped anything, which was Avengers. I mean, and like a lot of stuff on that got canceled, and then like now the working on Perfect Dark gets canceled. I know they're working on Tomb Raider, but like how far? Like,
I mean, they've been working on Tomb Raider since the Marvel's Avengers launch.
Yeah, so it's like, oof, it's crazy. Like,
I mean, fortunately for them, that one is like Amazon's money. Like Crystal Dynamics would be in trouble if they were still just relying just with the Embracer Group and relying on them. But fortunately for them, Embracer sold off a bunch of Tomb Raider assets and stake to Amazon, and Amazon ended up working as publisher on that project. So with all the money they have, it's even if Tomb Raider goes to shit, which sounds like it probably will, that won't blow back on Crystal Dynamics too much, but it will probably make the Embracer Group take another look at the studio before they greenlight their next project. But for the Initiative side of things, at that point it didn't even make any sense, like because Crystal Dynamics is already struggling to get Tomb Raider out the door. I've heard a lot of bad stuff behind the scenes on that game, and they're like 2 years late in their presentation. Like they should have literally like had at the very least a trailer presentation by now. So they've been running behind schedule on that, but they were also helping, basically trying to run Perfect Dark at the same time. So at least this allows them to focus on Tomb Raider, like just go all hands on deck to get Tomb Raider out the door. It's just unfortunate that this happened at Xbox again, and I saw people are like kind of posing the question: Can Xbox at this point be like trusted to like be a AAA game publisher? Because it just seems like they're just having a really hard time like putting together a real pipeline of consistent AAA titles, and because it feels like every year now they're having these huge layoff periods. Their games aren't hitting quite as much unless they're putting them on PlayStation. It's like it's crazy.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's a catch-22 because like there's so much value in Game Pass, but like, and sometimes you hear I don't know, I've heard mixed things this week. I've heard
The Arcane Studios founder like hates Game Pass. He says it's killing the industry.
Yeah, and maybe that's the case. I don't know. I don't know I don't know how you really fix that, but I feel like they're trying to like get to the like this is an Xbox campaign where everything is Xbox is basically everywhere.
Yeah.
So I think there'll always be a box, but you have the option of running it on just about anything, and I think that's a good pathway for them. Especially when I think the next one comes out, I think you're gonna be able to like run Steam on an actual Xbox,
Yeah, for sure.
and stuff like that is gonna be a big deal. But it's a matter of getting there. Yeah, it's definitely strange. Like I don't understand what's going on over there because like you've had some pretty good games or good looking games get canceled.
Yeah.
You've had studios like I mean, what was that? The Tango
game where they had a game that according to Xbox was successful by every metric, even though they got no marketing from them. A lot of people were very passionate about the game, and then they said, yeah, you did a great job, you won awards, you were successful, people love the game, and you're all fired. Go fuck yourself.
But it's funny because Gabe brings up Netflix, and you look at all these streaming services, and they're starting to struggle too, because at a certain point, like you have a certain stream of revenue from the subscriber base, and obviously you're always trying to get more subscribers, but there's got to be a cap somewhere.
For sure. And Game Pass, from what we can tell, Game Pass already hit it. And so it's just like a matter of, okay, how else are you going to, what's going on? Because I don't think it helped that Microsoft, spent all that money buying Activision. Like, because now that put them on Microsoft's radar. It's like, okay, or you're spending that kind of money. Okay, now we got to kind of see some results here.
I think that was a lot of money, obviously. I think the Activision sale was good for them because not much from there has been affected by any of this. Call of Duty still prints money. Yep. They got that Candy Crush. I assume that still prints money. Like some of those mobile games that they got as part of it, like were probably the bigger part of the sale, So I mean, Doom, I don't know how Doom is doing. I hope well. It's a great game.
Not great, unfortunately.
But it's weird though because like you can make great games now, and like there's just always something, and there's always some reason that somebody's like, oh well, I'll fuck that game, Like Randy Pitchford says one stupid thing, and all of a sudden it's like everyone's like, oh, well, I'm not fuck that game.
Yeah,
and it could very well be the game of the year, Like it's gamers are fickle,
Very.
And it's just weird, and I don't.
That's a very polite way of saying entitled bitches.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you figure that out. You know what I mean? Like how you figure out these markets.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, right when these layoffs hit, we find out that Helldivers 2 is coming to Xbox.
Yeah, I still won't care.
He still, yes, Jay is still a Helldiver hater.
Yeah, it's not even that I hate it. It's just I think it's so vastly overrated. There are so many games that are so much better than that don't get the attention. You know what I mean? It's just weird. Like the people that play that game are the same people that'll say, "Oh, well, Call of Duty is just repetitive." Like that game is the same thing. You're just doing the same thing over and over again.
I have to fiercely disagree there. I think Call of Duty is just the epitome of quadruple A slop, and after as someone who played Helldivers within like the first month and has kind of seen it grow. Like I played the new content updates, seeing all the changes that they've added, and I gotta say, Helldivers 2 has definitely been one of the better multiplayer games in general of the last 5 years. Definitely one of the best multiplayer releases of the last 10.
I don't get it. I will never understand like why people can go play that game for the amount of time they can and then complain that another game is repetitive, because to me it's just, oh, it's a slightly different environment, and oh, maybe not bugs this time, maybe robots.
I think it's partly because you played the game extremely briefly during like I think within the first month of it launching and haven't come back to it, whereas I've put in like 400 hours. I played the new content updates. I've seen all the things they've added, all the changes, all the new maps, all the new enemies and weapons, and I can definitely say that the industry could definitely learn a lot of lessons from Helldivers and their success, because I think this is one of the examples of a live service game run the correct way, and there's a lot of lessons to be learned on how to bring virality to your game by being authentic and having and kind of tapping into what a lot of players want out of their specific experience. In this case, particularly a co-op third-person shooter. I think Arrowhead has done a phenomenal job overall. After seeing where they started and where they've ended up now at this point, I had absolute hats off to them. I think they're a success story up there now with now the Expedition 33 studio. I think them, Arrowhead, they're going to be held up as examples of how the industry can continue to grow going forward amongst all the chaos around AAA and the layoffs and everything like that. I think they're fantastic.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm glad people enjoy the game, and I'm glad. My overall point though is that, like, no matter what, you have to admit there's a repetition to it, like, because it's the game. You're going to be doing the same thing pretty much over and over again, just like many other games. And we hear it with, like, we heard it with Avengers, we heard it with Suicide Squad. Oh, just the same thing over and over again.
That's why actually I think Helldivers has managed to stand out, because and maintain a fan base for so long, because it's actually not like the levels. Obviously they've added a bunch of different levels and content that is very different from what they had during the base game. But even then, the appeal of Helldivers was that even though it's not, even though the mission variety isn't massive, every mission felt unique because of the basic, because of the fundamental game design. You kind of had no idea what you were getting into with each mission, even though what the mission is on paper. The execution of it, anything can happen. Stuff could go to shit, and then you add on like the really clever kind of dungeon master style of storytelling with the way they handle the game, where it's like you're actually part of a story where, oh, you have to go to this planet because this is the stage we are in the war. And most recently they had a ton of new players come back because the new story was like, okay, these new aliens that we introduced they're now coming to the home world of Super Earth. So now you have to go to the actual Super Earth and defend it from an alien invasion, and those missions were absolutely fucking incredible. But yeah, just but it was a culmination of them like progressing a story in a way that you don't really see live service games do. It was a very, very interesting, and it was like a fun way to see how they actually paid this all off in the end. And I think that's why you had a lot of people just singing the game's praises, particularly lately. Even people who were hypercritical of it because of the whole PSN debacle and some of the other stuff with the balancing. Like, they hats off to them. They did a tremendous job. And going forward, Arrowhead, not only are they putting it on Xbox, but their next game they confirmed is not going to be published under PlayStation. Actually, Tencent actually slid into their DMs. So this next one's going to be interesting.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not using it. I'm not saying the repetition to be negative about it. I'm just comparing it to other games where people. It feels like. Sorry.
I was saying Gabe hasn't bought a new game since pre-ordering Ghost of Yotei.
It's going to be like a busy year. It's crazy. But like, I just feel like there are a lot of games that these same people don't give a chance because, like, oh, it's so repetitive. But like, that's the point of these games. Like, that's what makes it the game. Sure. Like we look at Suicide Squad. Obviously, everybody was like, oh, it's just the same thing over and over again. And it's sort of true. But like, I thought this
is definitely true.
I thought the city changing was really cool.
I will say, after playing, as someone who has played a lot of hours of both Suicide Squad and Helldivers 2, I think I fully now understand that argument of why Suicide Squad feels more repetitive than Helldivers 2, because it is, unfortunately. It fundamentally is. Like Suicide Squad did some very interesting things. Obviously, they could have done many things much better, but
we agree on that.
Development was an absolute shit show. Thank you, Jamie and Sefton. And so they didn't have time to do a lot of stuff correctly. But yeah, fundamentally, the difference between loading into a mission in Suicide Squad and loading into a mission in Helldivers is night and day. And I think that it's because of the inherent game design. Suicide Squad feels like the missions were designed for solo play, specifically because it's a looter shooter. It feels like it's designed for you to run in and mindlessly farm enemies so you can go grab so you could get a chance of getting that particular loot piece and then rinse and repeat. Whereas Helldivers 2 feels like you're reliving Starship Troopers or anything like that. Every time you go in, the missions are longer. You're not, they're not designed to for you just to run in, necessarily farm and get out, while shutting your brain off. Like, you have to be locked in at all times. There's chaos. Like, it actually feels like having multiple people is justified. Whereas Suicide Squad, I felt like when I was playing, if I played with someone, it's just because I wanted to play with someone, just so we can play a game together. It's not because it felt necessary. In fact, because of Suicide Squad's some of the issues with the game, it felt kind of like the game was incentivizing you to not play with other people at some points. So I can definitely understand that criticism there, and I think it just kind of, I think Avengers did a much better job, but they also missed the mark. I think Gotham Knights actually nailed the co-op experience for a superhero game more so than Suicide Squad or Avengers, which is why it's sad that the game they just lost support and just kind of left it, because I felt like that should have been the live service there. it felt good because all like the co-op in the campaign was great. The multiplayer missions they added after the fact were all great. It was so much fun. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of where I feel like you want to be aiming if you want to do like a kind of an open world co-op superhero game where I feel like Suicide Squad missed the mark and Avengers was just this close, but they just had some fundamental things that just fucked up that more in the whole experience.
I'm not necessarily trying to say that one is better than the other. I'm just trying to use it.
I will say one is definitely better than
right. But all three of those games though, like that was a very common theme. It was, it's just the same thing over and over again. Like it just literally feels like that is like the argument against every game, but everybody has that one game that they play and love that is the same thing over and over again. Like how many people have you seen that have like all their saves on Spider-Man?
Yeah.
You know, 100% completed.
And I understand those people, but I do understand like the appeal of wanting to play certain games because certain games are great experiences. Like even like I've done replays of some of these games, and like I've done in particular replays of the Spider-Man games, as a lead up to some new content or whatever. And I do understand the appeal because even though I played the game before, the experience was so good that it feels your time feels valuable when you play it again because you maybe you find something new or at the very least you're just kind of reliving what was a great experience. And I think games that like Spider-Man and like some of the Arkham games did such a fantastic job with their campaign that it resonates with people even if they're playing the game multiple times. Even games like the Arkham games actually incentivize people to do multiple playthroughs because even Ghost of Tsushima, like I've seen these videos online where people kind of do these like perfect mastery runs where where they put like thousands of hours and then they'll show the fruits of their labor by doing these like insane runs where they're slaughtering all the enemies and doing all this really cool shit, fully utilizing all their tricks and abilities. It is awesome to look at. So I think games going forward, they have to kind of go back to basics a bit, and I think having smaller teams could definitely help, but just get games that are from people that are passionate and like let them cook, obviously, but yeah, games made by passionate people who are just trying to have a game that people can fall in love with. Like I still have not done my Expedition 33 playthrough, but I'm very much looking forward to it because of how I can see just from looking at all the clips and everything like that how much love and passion and talent just went into that game. So I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say no to a consultant job.
We need to start a consultant agency. We can right a lot of wrongs.
Because I feel like a lot of stuff could be I feel like a lot of mistakes from games we've seen over the last 5 years in particular could have been avoided if they just had a conversation with like some guy, like some gamers like us, and said, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And we could just be like, "Yeah, don't do that. People are gonna fucking hate this."
And I think that's actually something I've noticed with Invincible, that new Invincible fighting game.
Yeah.
Like I know for a fact they've had like Maximilian and some of those people actually go into the studio and already kind of try it out and give some feedback and stuff like that.
Yep.
That is very valuable. I definitely agree. And yeah, I mean, a lot of times when we get these opportunities to like go to these events and everything, it's past the point of no return.
Yeah,
you know,
way past. Yeah, like when we did the Suicide Squad Alpha and the hands-on stuff, it was way too late.
Yeah.
There was nothing to be done there.
Well, I think about Redfall, because like, you know, I knew when I played it, I was like, something's off. Like this doesn't feel like, but like you get caught up in the hype because there's like all these devs in the room and they're really excited to watch you play and they're like enthusiastically explaining what you're doing. So, and there was cool aspects to it, and everything that I was presented with was like choreographed specifically for that experience. You know what I mean? But like I could still see, I'm like, there's something off, and it's too late to tell you that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're kind of fucked. Yeah,
and all of these places have playtesters, but like, you know, I think it's different when your like job is to work there and playtest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, because you're still part of the wheel. You know?
Yeah, and their job more so is to like is to bug test, but like they're trying to make sure that the systems work. Like they're not an outsider who's looking at it like like they're not outsiders who are thinking from the perspective of a gamer or potential customer.
This is absolutely not true. I criticize the game all the time. I was just using it as a recent example of a game that like I was told is too repetitive, but if you kind of look at it, yeah, sure, you're doing the same thing. It's the same game, but like I felt like I had enough to do that. You know, it's not the game any of us wanted, but like it wasn't as bad. Like
Sure.
the game core itself was not as bad as a lot. Like I will die on this hill if you took DC Comics out of that game, and that was what's that game? What's the game that got canceled at PlayStation?
Concord.
If that was what Concord was supposed to be, like that core gameplay, I think it would have been, people would have loved it. But I think it's because of what it was not. It was also the Sweet Baby, which that whole thing seems to have gone away. Like, do we not care if Sweet Baby's involved in games anymore?
I mean, the grifters whose money depends on it care, but
I haven't heard them in a while. So
I've definitely noticed Sweet Baby. I guess I'll call it Sweet Baby fatigue.
Yeah.
Whereas like people are kind of tuning the grifters out now because they kind of realize, oh, they actually are just grifters. Like they aren't actually real gamers. And I think that's, we can like thank games like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and Expedition 33 for kind of helping that along, because these are just one of several examples of games where it's like, where the grifters like we're like, oh, don't get those games, they're woke. And then people play them and like, oh, wait, what are you talking about? These are like some of the best games of the last decade. Like, what are you talking about? And then they were like, oh, wait, that's why they call you grifters. Duh.
I will say, ever since Suicide Squad ended, I feel like everything's been so quiet and nice.
Yeah, because they don't have that game to rally around it, their hate anymore. Like that was supposed to be Assassin's Creed Shadows, but then Assassin's Creed Shadows ended up being way more successful than they anticipated. So they couldn't really keep going with that narrative, because it's like, oh well, I mean, the game's kind of going too well. You really can't just beat that people over the head with that narrative when it's like not reflected in reality. And then Expedition 33 popped off, and they haven't really had anything they can cling on to for now. So yeah, it's, people are just kind of focused on the games themselves now instead of the culture war stuff. For example, they've kind of moved on the other thing. Like the big controversy was the stop killing games thing. Were you keeping up with that?
No, it's not.
Oh, it was really fascinating situation. Yeah, that was like the new big thing in gaming. So this guy in response to remember the Crew Motorfest controversy.
Vaguely.
Yeah. Basically, Ubisoft made a racing game called the Crew Motorfest. People enjoyed it. It was but then it was a live service game, and then Ubisoft just decided, okay, we're kind of done with this game, and we're just going to kill it. Like we're not going to get. Not only are you getting no updates, but you're not going to be able to play it in any capacity. Like we're just deleting this game from your drive. You're not going to be able to play it in single player. You're not going to be play anymore. You're not going to play it offline. We're just deleting this game. And people were just like, what the fuck? I paid for this game.
Yeah.
I can't even play it offline anymore. What the fuck is this shit? And so this guy created this movement called Stop Killing Games, where he basically was trying to get because the kind of the special circumstance in the UK where if you get enough signatures, you can have legislation actually be proposed, and they'll actually take it seriously and do a comment on it. And so he was like, okay, I want to put this movement, I'm gonna call this Stop Killing Games, and his basic goal was, I wanted to make it so that companies can't sell you a game and then just take it away from you. Like they have to be transparent and label it as a rental, or you have to make it so that if you're going to make a game, you have to build in a contingency so that when you're done with that game, people can still have access to it if they pay for it. Whether you have to make it offline mode, and tons of companies do this all the time. It's not even a prohibitive thing. Like Baldur's Gate 3 devs recently gave away all the dev tools so people can make their own Baldur's Gate 3 content. Like it's actually not a difficult thing to do, and it's pro-consumer. So he was trying to get this movement started, and Pirate Software, this popular content creator who kind of dips his toes into the culture war space, but he weighed in on it because he's also a game developer, and he kind of just shit on the whole movement, and basically kind of mostly was actually just lying about what the guy stood for and what the movement was. And then a couple creators like Moist Critical picked up on it after he made a video criticizing Pirate Software, and they all kind of reacted to it. And the whole internet kind of in the gaming space in particular kind of just came together to shit on Pirate Software and say, fuck you, support Stop Killing Games. So now they got their signatures. It's over 1 million. And this could actually fundamentally change the way games are made now. Now, if this actually becomes legitimate legislation in the UK, they're going to have to make it so that they can't pull the whole you'll own nothing and be happy bullshit, and actually have a contingency in place so that if they do want to not support a game anymore or whatever, you have to make it offline playable in some capacity, whether it's giving people their own server or having it playable offline. And so far it's working. Probably the Crew Motorfest is getting their testing and offline component. But I think it's kind of a slam. I think it's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, even Avengers, all the problems we had with that game, even they made it so that, okay, you can still play the game whenever you want, even though we're not supporting it anymore. And it's like it's not even a difficult thing to do. It's just a thing that people won't do if they hate their consumers.
Yeah, kind of along that line. It's funny to me how many people seem to have loved Anthem this week. Like,
yeah, EA is about to shut down the servers. Yeah,
and it's weird because like that was like the game that it was okay to shit on. Like that was like Avengers. It was like Suicide Squad, one of those approved games where they can just be the butt of every joke. And then suddenly, like, oh wait, I like that game actually. Well, it's funny how that always works out.
Well, Anthem I think is actually different in that regard because so when Anthem came out, yeah, everyone was like shitting on it for good reason. It was absolutely right. It was absolute dog shit and unacceptable. Sure. But there was a lot similar to Avengers. the players saw a lot of potential in the game. The fly, because I tried it myself, and I was like, okay, I kind of get this. The flying, all that is really cool, and people were legitimately invested in the game getting better, and so was BioWare. BioWare, the story of how that ended was that similar to how it was. Funny enough, it played out similar to Battlefront. BioWare is that BioWare like had a full plan in place to like revamp Anthem. It was like they called it Anthem 2.0. They had a whole plan in place to like fix the core game, have all this really interesting content and like turn things around. And EA said, "No, we're not going to do that," and then said, "Go fuck yourself." And sorry if you liked Anthem, and we're going to have you do something else. And so people were so Anthem players were just kind of like left hanging, like, oh man, I really wanted that Anthem 2.0, and they never got it, and they've just been kind of playing Anthem here and there, and now they're not going to even be able to do that anymore. So I totally, in this case, I totally understand and support people being annoyed by this, because I feel like Anthem in particular, like after playing Anthem, I think that game just not being playable anymore is just fucking egregious. Like that,
yeah.
If there's anything game that could be offline, it's that game.
I'm 100% on board with like you have to have an offline mode, or you have to present it on the packaging like this is an online only game. If the servers ever go down, you won't be able to play it. Like that has to, like, yeah. I'm 100% on board with that specific messaging has to be prevalent.
Even then, and like Marvel, Marvel Rivals, the 6v6 aspect of it, that feels like okay, that's definitely designed to be online only. But Anthem, like as I'm playing Anthem, it's basically a single player open world action game. They have obviously they had the multiplayer aspect to it, but the core of that game, like you can play the entire thing by yourself and no problem. So that being online only and losing access to it, that's bullshit. That's complete bullshit. There's absolutely no reason that game can't be playable offline.
Yeah, I was a day one player. I have the Steelbook somewhere over there. It's, yeah. I mean, I just feel like though, like every time this happens with one of these games, we get the, oh, but that game wasn't that bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's the unfortunate issue, especially in gaming now, with everything in general just being more expensive, is that your first impression really matters, and by the time your game launched, you're on like impression number 6 at that point, and you're hyping it up, you're promoting it. You have your review period, your preview periods at that, usually when it comes to AAA games, where it's like, oh man, this is going to be hype. The reviews run like, yeah, you're going to love this. This is going to be great. And then the game's a piece of shit on launch, and it's like, what are we doing? Like, so I think for sure, number one, before we get into the player perception, like, understand you are delivering a product to customers, and if your product fundamentally doesn't work on day one after you've spent years potentially promoting the product and convincing people to buy the product by telling them that it works and that it's great, if what you said ends up being bullshit, I don't think it's on the player, the customer, to then say, oh well, that's okay that you lied to me and made me waste my money. I'll just give you all the time in the world to fix this, and I will support you 100% of the way. Imagine if you went to the dealership with your Lego money, and you bought yourself a brand new car. I was like, oh man, yeah, this car is awesome. Yeah, I I love this. And the dealer, the whole time you were there, the dealer like, oh yeah, you're really going to love this car. You should get this car. It's great. Comes highly recommended. Here are the reviews. People swear by it. IGN thinks this is one of the best cars you can ever drive. And then you get home and like you're driving, and halfway home the car breaks down and it stops running. And you're like, what the fuck is going on? And they say, oh yeah, the engine sometimes doesn't work. We'll patch that later. Like, well, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah.
Like that would never fly in any other industry.
Right.
But in gaming, you're expected to be like, oh well, I guess the engine just doesn't fucking work. I'll come back later. Like, no, well, why the fuck did you sell this to me?
Yeah, back to the question Laquan had about like the pricing of games. It's such a weird thing because like the pricing, like I think anytime, like unlike any other industry, video games, it's like, no, you can't touch the price ever.
Yeah.
Like it has to be this no matter what. Like if you even think of raising it, you're fucked your game. You know what I mean?
Which is funny because the prices change every time. Like this always happens. and the prices will be one thing, then the prices will change, and people are like, don't change the prices, and then no one cares, and we just and we move on.
I look at it like this, okay? All right, Mario Kart, the new Mario Kart that came out with Switch 2.
Yeah.
All right. That was one of the games I think that was the new price, right? $79.99 if you got it separate.
Yeah.
Okay. How many hours do you think the average, like I think about Mario Kart and I think about just people putting hundreds of hours into that game because they love that little racing game, you know what I mean? And I feel like, all right, so if you play 200 hours of Mario Kart, you're telling me that isn't worth the 50 cents an hour, like that you basically translates to. I just don't understand, because like you'll go see an hour and a half movie and you'll go pay $20, and then you'll buy like $20 of popcorn and drinks, and now you're at $40 for an hour and a half, 2 hour movie. And maybe that's a bad example because people aren't going to movies anymore either. But but like,
but they'll spend $30 on a VOD. 20.
I'll watch people spend $500 on a pair of Nikes to stick in a plastic case on a shelf. You know what I mean?
Those are collector's items, Jay.
I get it, but like at the same time, like I look at these video games and it's like, what is entertainment worth? You know, like if you pay $80 for a video game and you get 20 hours out of it, do you think $4 an hour for entertainment is expensive?
Yeah. I think that's an interesting thing, because like what a game is worth ends up a lot of times just being entirely subjective. Like there are games that you play where it feels like I would have easily paid $100 for that experience, and there are games that you play where you're like, I feel like they should give me $100 for playing that piece of shit. and it's just, and I feel like largely it's just an unnecessary topic, because when I was a kid, games were much more expensive, and I can appreciate the argument where it feels like, okay, if the technology should in theory make games less expensive for the consumer. And appreciate the 10 gifties from Loader. 10 people are just gifted backstage passes. Thank you so much. I understand I understand people who are annoyed where it's like, oh, it feels like the savings aren't being passed on to consumer, and we don't feel like we should have to subsidize triple big studios being bloated and inefficient. But
right.
And I think that's a valid argument. Like if you're charging $80 for your game because you have like 1,500 people at your studio when you don't need to, I understand people being annoyed by that, especially if they're not getting value on the games. But in general, I don't think $70 $80 game is a big deal, because it's not even like a new milestone. Like games, like I said, games were like the equivalent when I was a kid of a new Mario Kart is like $120 when I was a kid, and we're just talking about $80 right now. I don't think it's at a point now where it's like worth having that an argument about it, because I feel like GTA 6 being $100, even if that were a thing, I'm like, yeah, it's GTA 6.
Yeah, but like I think Laquan is asking good questions though. Like I think if you're gonna pay 75 or 70 to $150 on a game, like, is it okay for them to just shut down? No. I think there has to be some honesty, and a lot of times there is, and this is online only, and the consumer should know going into it that if something were to happen and the game were to shut down, it's gone. Like I look at Marvel Heroes, right? Like I knew that was an online game, and I knew if it ever shut down, poof, gone. You know what I mean? Is there a way they could have made that offline? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I don't get it.
100%. Yeah, after this whole stop killing game thing, I had kind of ended up going down a rabbit hole, and it turns out it's actually extremely easy to do. they just don't do it because fuck us. That's why. So,
I think consumers should know what they're getting into as well. Like I feel like there is some responsibility for the consumer to do enough research to understand what they're buying. But I do also believe that it is on, the manufacturer, the publisher, the studio to make sure that they are clear on what they are delivering with the game. You know what I mean?
100%.
And there are definitely games that they've said, it is always online. So you do have to, that, like Suicide Squad. Initially, there was no offline mode, and they said it's always online. You have to be online. You have to connect to the servers.
And people said, we don't like that.
Exactly.
And they said, you know what? Fair. We'll change that.
But the point I was getting at with that was they said that up front.
100%. They were up front with it.
And that the consumer buying it should know that. And obviously the fact that they changed it, that's not the point I'm trying to make. But like, there are some games where you just have to kind of expect, like, if Fortnite ever shuts down, your stuff's gone, and you spent a lot of money on it. You know what I mean?
And I feel like there's a little more leeway there with like a free-to-play game.
Sure.
That's like based on multiplayer fighting. It's like, okay, but if you're but when it comes to like something like a game with like extensive single player campaign and experience, is like, you're kind of, I feel like you're just kind of being lazy assholes, and you should think about the consumer here. And I think on the side of giving them a contingency to continue to play if they want to, especially if your game's not, if you're not free. Like Suicide Squad, I thought they made the right choice, because you're paying, you're charging full price for a live service game, and the game has a single player mode, a lot of single player activity. Like you could play all of the game single player, all aspects of it, and you don't need another person. The multiplayer in a lot of cases didn't even fucking work. So the idea of that just being online only didn't sit right. So I think it made sense for that to have an offline component, and I'm glad that they came around and added that before the game shut down. I think in general that should be the standard, and I hope that Stop Killing Games helps normalize that, because like we can argue about pricing. I think pricing ultimately is not going to be a big deal, because people at the end of the day, are going to pay what they're going to pay. If a game charges $80 and people determine that game is not worth $80, well, guess what? They're not going to buy the game. They're going to lose a lot of money, and they're going to take that lesson for their next game. And capitalism solves its own problems in a lot of instances. Whereas if a game does charge $80 and people determine, hey, I think this game is worth $80, like probably Borderlands 4, even though that's not going to be an $80 game, I think that game is going to sell very well, and people are going to be like, huh, I would have paid $80 for that. I think if GTA 6 ends up being $100, I don't think anyone's going to bat an eye. Nope.
Now, granted, my Borderlands 4 experience is through the eyes of Moxie, who is a super fan, like no doubt about it.
For sure.
But like, I also respect his opinion, and like, I feel like for those core fans that play this game, they did all the right things that the fans really want.
Yep.
And I think it would have absolutely been worth $80. It's just Pitchford.
He did a Pitchford.
He stepped on his own toes in spite of his face.
Honestly, I think if he just had given that first answer and not said shit else, and then the game was $80, it wouldn't have mattered. Like, people would have bought the game. People would have bought the game.
Right.
But it was the real fan comment. Like, I feel like if it was $80,
nobody wants to hear that ever. Like,
if it was $80, if it was $80 that he didn't say shit, people would have there would have a few people grumbling, but the people would have bought the game.
And like, I was there at PAX East when that question came up, because they had a question and answer section, and somebody asked him about the price. And like, his answer was very genuine, very sincere, very honest. He's basically like, I don't know what the price is going to be yet. It's not necessarily up to me. It's up to the publisher. They're doing their research. It is possible it could be $80. It could be the $70 model. We're not sure yet. But he also said it costs twice as much to develop as Borderlands 3. And like, that's a common theme that seems to be coming up with a lot of these studios, is like, like, people don't understand, like, everything's more expensive now, and that's making it more expensive for the studios too. Like, electricity is more expensive, like, all those things, and it all contributes. And yes, there is bloat for sure.
For sure. And also, depending on, where they're located, salaries can be higher, but if you're dealing with a studio who's a certain size, that's also going to contribute to it. So, which begs the question, should more studios like try to just be more leaner in general, instead of having like 10 HR departments and spending $150 million on marketing. But
I feel like that's part of the thing too with the Xbox layoffs. You acquire Activision, all right, and they've got their marketing, they've got their PR, they've got their HR, and then you've got Xbox that has all the same things. So at a certain point, there's redundancy, and
I think I've read somewhere that Xbox laid off more people than the total amount that work at Nintendo. It's like,
I don't know. I honestly haven't read too much into it. Like, it sucks.
It's a lot. It's a lot of people. Like, Microsoft is a massive company.
Yeah, but it's like, and I understand part of it is that they're going hard into spending into AI, and that affects all parts of the company. And I do like Xbox's vision. I really do. Like, the idea that they're going to have their handheld device, you're going to be able to play your games on literally anything. They're putting the games on PlayStation. I like that. I
love all that. I think all that's great. I think the issue with Xbox is the actual game publishing side of it. Seems to have been in like kind of a downward spiral since the 360.
The day and date on Game Pass it's hard to understand how that works, you know?
Yeah,
Like, especially if it's not a game that has a decent amount of microtransactions. Day and date Call of Duty on Game Pass, no problem.
makes
They're
sense.
gonna make their goddamn money, all right? But like, you
Hell,
know,
Hellblade 2.
but
Yeah.
Claire Obscura, the
Well, yeah.
Expedition 33.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
I
that
got that
one
on
was,
Game Pass.
yeah, but fortunately that one was also a game that sold a ton of copies independently. But a lot of Game Pass day and days don't, like, they get a ton of players on Game Pass, but they don't get a ton of sales elsewhere.
Yeah, it's. I've seen studios say that Game Pass really helps them, and I've seen studios say that it doesn't. And I will bet that the game studios that like it are the ones that it comes like 6 months after the game came out, because then they just enjoy this new influx of customers who
Exactly.
may not buy the core game, but they're getting the other stuff that comes with it that's come out in the 6 months.
And they're getting a fat check from Microsoft,
Yeah, so
we're gonna be like Guardians of the Galaxy. That Game Pass very much benefited that, because they had a slow launch, because of marketing and the Square Enix, the whole people being afraid to buy another superhero game for Square Enix thing, and then it came on Game Pass. It got great reviews, and then it came on Game Pass later, and people said, "Hey, this game's awesome! What the fuck?" And that's how it. And so it couldn't help. But yeah, the day one thing definitely seems to be a bit of an issue for a lot of games.
yeah. Sorry, I bought something on eBay, and I knew it was too good to be true.
Bought it on eBay.
Yeah, the seller just messaged me asking for some kind of a username to send. I bought a CM Punk like card, and it was like a rarity level that was pretty high, and it was only $5, and I was confused. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna buy it, but apparently it's digital. He did say, if you did not intend to buy a digital card, let me know and I'll refund. So I'll do that after. But yeah, I somehow pulled one of the most sought after cards in the Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering collaboration.
I did not
This
know that was
is,
a thing.
yeah, this is Vivi from Final Fantasy 9, and apparently this card is like worth a few $100s. So
there
yeah,
you
go. Don't talk shit about my guy. So I gotta get that one graded. But I was reading like a couple articles, like the top 10 cards, and it was like top 4 every time. And a guy at a card shop I went to was like, "Oof, I want that." So anyway, yeah,
Sell
I
it.
digress.
I miss those days of.
I'm gonna get it graded first, because when you get it graded, it like quadruples in value if you can get it to like a good enough grade. I've got like I tweeted it earlier. I got like a stack of cards that I want to get graded. Nothing you'll care about.
Definitely
Like
not.
like the Boston Red Sox have the top prospect in all of baseball. His name is Roman Anthony, and they do this thing called Tops Now, where they put out a card and it's only available for like 2 days. And so I got one for his first major league game and his first major league hit, and I'm gonna get those graded. So
yeah, if it was a first edition Charizard, I'd be interested. But
well, I mean, those, yeah, like people would like get that graded and it's worth a ton of money. Do I like John Cena's retirement tour? No. I think they did it wrong.
Jay has not been enjoying it.
No, I think they did it wrong.
At least I haven't been tapped in, but through Jay, I have learned that it's not the best.
No, it's stupid. They're like having him be a heel and he's not really good at it, and it's boring and it's stupid and it's not what he deserves. Like he deserves, like, and I'm sure that we're getting close to the point where he's gonna flip back over to being the good guy.
For
But
sure.
It's really stupid. I've never liked it.
I probably just happened for his last match. So
yeah.
So Jay, while you were in tremendous pain. Did you finish Ironheart?
I did not start it.
Started.
No.
How dare you?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Like there's a TV in the bedroom. I don't know why I didn't use it. I just literally laid down in bed.
They just stared at the wall
in a dark room and just looked at my phone. You know, I probably should have watched it. I didn't. I did get my wife to watch episode 1 of Fallout today, though.
She enjoyed it.
She liked it. She liked
it
a lot.
It's a great show. Not sure. Yeah, I'd say I definitely would recommend Fallout more than Ironheart.
Yeah, I've actually seen some decent reviews.
So I'll say this about Ironheart. There was a very good idea in there somewhere, buried beneath a pile of shit. but there was some really cool, and I would say the first 3 episodes are really rough.
Yeah.
But it does progressively get better. Finishing Ironheart made me realize that Marvel has not done enough with magic. But I think that was a big part of the reason Agatha all along resonated with so many people. I think they should be doing more grounded, relatively grounded. You don't need to spend $500 million on these shows, but relatively low budget, but well made shows for the MCU based on magic. Because honestly, Ironheart would have been unwatchable without those aspects of it. but once they started introducing like some of the magic stuff, like we finally got Mephisto, which felt out of place, but I did enjoy the interpretation of it. But yeah, they had this girl introduced in there who used to live in Kamatage, where all the sorcerers were, and her mom had her leave, and now she's kind of setting up magic on her own. That aspect of it was so much more interesting than the main Ironheart story they were trying to tell, and this made me think I would have loved like a Strange Academy show that kind of explores more of the magic aspects of the MCU.
This motherfucker just spoiled Mephisto.
I mean, it was obvious.
Is it Sacha Baron Cohen?
Yeah, it was kind of.
I already saw it.
Yeah, it was obvious.
Yeah, but still.
I mean, it wasn't like this crazy reveal. If you were looking at if you look at the marketing, and they kind of already were like saying, yeah, look, get ready for Mephisto. Like Sacha Baron Cohen was cast, and they were talking about, oh, Ironheart's going to be introduced to magic, and the Hood is going to be the main villain. It's like, okay, they're clearly setting up Mephisto here.
You know what the irony of my injury is? It happened like 2 days or 3 days after the Karen Reed trial ended, and I was like, yes, I can finally have my life back.
And then it was taken away.
And it was like taken away. Oh my god! Like, I can't believe. I think you either liked or retweeted a video I retweeted with the jury foreman, who is this like big black guy. Like whenever there's a guy named Turtle Boy, he's a big journalist around here. Whenever he would describe the juror number 1, he's like, he walks in and he's this big black guy. He's always got a gold chain, and like he takes absolutely 0 notes, but you can tell he's paying attention, And apparently this guy is like fucking awesome.
He sounds fucking awesome.
He's one of the few like jurors that like have spoken publicly, and he basically said, yeah, she's innocent, and not only that, they should find who really did it. Like, that man was not hit by a car. That much is clear,
Very clear.
But it's crazy because like all these people that thought they were the good guys are like going after these jurors, because another one that's spoken out is Brazilian, and it's just like, oh, send them back. You should be deported. One person like tweeted that video of the juror doing an interview. Hey Grok, what's an Uncle Tom? You know, it's like, it's crazy, but like nobody's doing anything about it because they lost. Like the government lost this case, and they're not protecting these jurors.
I will never understand the mentality of a bootlicker. like this, like you describing the case, I was like, oh, this is the clearest example of corrupt cops.
Yes.
Like very clearly. Like I knew nothing about this case until you told me what happened, and I got to look into it myself. And it was so unbelievably obvious, even from our first conversation, that the cops clearly murdered this guy and framed her.
Yeah. Yeah, they got lucky that she backed into his car and cracked her taillight.
They were clearly not even good at murdering him and covering it up. Like they literally lucked out and were just leaning on the fact that their whole like area was corrupt. And it was crazy.
Here's the crazier thing. So there's another case that's starting to heat up right now. I think it's actually going on right now. A guy named Brian Walsh. They don't know where his wife is, but they have found lots of incriminating evidence on his devices and everything, and now he's fighting back and saying, well, according to the Karen Reed trial, that apparatus you're using is not reliable, so I don't think this is you can actually use this as evidence. And he might get off because of how incompetent they were during her case, because it's a lot of the same cops. Then there was another one where there's this girl, Sandra Birchmore, same cops, all involved. Like it's like a lot of the same players in all three of these cases.
Feel like there should be a bigger government investigation into these cops.
well, this one, they ruled it a suicide, okay? But there's very clear that there's a police officer that had been grooming her since she was 14.
Jesus.
And like she was pregnant, they thought, with his child, and there's video of him going in and leaving, and she was never heard from again after that until they found her like dead, and he made it look like, you know, she hung herself. Okay, well the feds actually stepped in on this one because they ruled it a suicide, and you know, nothing to see here. And a lot of people like cried foul about it and everything, but like the feds were investigating, and that's where the Karen Reed case came in, because the feds also were, because they were investigating those investigators, they started seeing patterns and messages and things come up, and that's when they were like, hey guys, defense prosecutor, here's 3,000 pages of exculpatory evidence, you might want to look at this. And but now like they found out that it isn't even that cop's kid, and he killed her for nothing, but he's still gonna go to jail. But the like digital forensics guy, the Birchmore situation happened before Karen Reed, okay? As part of the reason why they cleared any wrongdoing and ruled it a suicide, he missed over 3,000 deleted text messages and messages back and forth between the cop and the girl that should not have been missed. Like, so it had to be deliberate because they were covering for the cop.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, this is fucking crazy.
It is insane that those are three cases that are all intertwined with the same people, like the same players.
And there are these fucking brain dead idiots like paint lickers being like, how dare Blue Lives Matter. Shut the fuck up, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a rabbit hole. So, and it's funny.
Yeah, I went down a similar rabbit hole last month. I just randomly found in the algorithm this civil rights lawyer who basically he does like videos profiling like certain cases involving police, and I've seen like some of the most egregious cases where I'm like, how the fuck is this? Like, there was this one case where this woman, she called the police because somebody she said her ex-boyfriend came to her house, kicked her door in, attacked her. She fought him off, and he ended up running out the door. So she gave her description and the name. So the police found the guy, based on the description, and had him come into the station. And the guy she ID'd as her attacker is a paraplegic who's been in a wheelchair for like 20 years. Like he's paralyzed from the waist down. Like he can't. He doesn't have motor control. Like he's like bound to a chair. He's married also, but he's been in a chair for the last 20 years. He literally physically cannot stand up, let alone obviously kicking a door, assault someone. And you know what the cops did? They fucking arrested him. Like they actually pulled him out of the chair, and was like, and the dude was like, I don't know. She said that you're the guy, and this other officer had walked over because heard a commotion. It was like, because this was on body cam, and he was like, what the fuck is going on? He's like, this guy is resisting, man. This crippled guy. He's like, this guy's resisting. He was ID'd. He's like, what was the crime? He's like, this lady said she kicked in the door and assaulted. And he's like, I mean, well, bro. I mean, he said, I know what he's like, bro. He's like, let me talk to the supervisor. Like, let me. He helped him up. He was like, let me come back. So he went to the supervisor and was like, yeah, we have an issue here. There's this guy who's like, they're trying to put him under arrest. He's allegedly kicked in this woman's house door and assaulted her. But clearly the guy is like bound to a wheelchair. So like I think we need to take a look at this. And his boss was like, I don't know, man. Criminals lie all the time. I think it's fine. Like literally, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Fortunately, the video came out and this whole thing went viral, and the charges ended up being dropped. I was like, what? How did these people have jobs?
It just doesn't make sense. And that was one of the big things with the Karen Reed case, was like the conspiracy is like, oh, there's too many people for there to be a conspiracy. And I'm like, no, there's really not. There's the family who are all holding tight together, and keeping their story straight. And then there's like a cop or two that are like parroting what they're being told. And it's not that hard to have a conspiracy like that. Look at the fucking Catholic Church.
Yeah.
like they kept that shit under wraps across the world for decades. So you're telling it's wild to me. Like, all you have to do is look at the guy's arm. It got bit by a dog. Like a 6,000-pound vehicle does not like leave a couple
bite marks
scratches on your arm. Those were his injuries were like ballooned eyes. All right, he had a contusion on his face. He had a big contusion on the back of his head, and then everything on his arm. No bruises, okay? No broken bones, nothing. You're telling me that guy got hit by a car? No, he got in a fight.
Yeah.
And attacked by a dog. Like, what are we doing?
Like,
I don't know.
This is it. Yeah, Steven is right on. Yeah, they do in fact let anyone be cops these days. These days.
It's just, the guy the house that it happened at, that guy was a Boston cop. The other guy that was with him was DEA. The guy that lived there that was a Boston cop, his brother was on that town's police force, okay, which is why they recused themselves, but not until after it was too late. Like, they were collecting blood in red Solo cups. They were using grocery store bags to bag evidence. Nothing was ever logged. Nothing was photographed. They were using a leaf blower to clear the snow around the scene. Like, it was, I'll put it this way. My cousin is a Connecticut state trooper, and we were at my cousin's 40th birthday party a few weeks ago, and he's awesome dude. I love chatting with him. I'm like, all right, at the risk of ruining our relationship, I need to know what you think about the Karen Reed case. And he goes, oh, it's bullshit. Like, and he actually he's at the academy now. He's like, we are actively using that case to teach cadets how not to be a cop.
Well, that's encouraging, at least.
Yeah, like he's like, it's bullshit. Like, there's no way. And then he told me some of the stories. These exactly. Like, you cannot even make up some of the shit that happened in this case.
Like,
it's fucking wild. Like, none of them have body cams. Okay,
of course.
Like, none of the interviews were recorded. None of the evidence gets logged. None of it got geotagged. Like, people found all this pieces of taillight, but none of it is logged properly, and you can't put the piece to who found it. Like, and it was found over the course of like a week. The police commissioner for the town of Canton, where it happened, he just one day was driving by, horrible vision, wears glasses, happened to be driving by, and he thought he saw a piece of taillight, so he pulled over and found it. Like, it's just they were supposed to have been conflicted off of the case at this point. So it's like, it's wild how, like, the part that is really hard for me is the guy's family really believes she did it. And I just don't understand. I don't understand how you can look at all of this evidence and not, like,
I don't think they did. Honestly, like, that's the only thing. Like, I could only determine, like, either they're in on it or they just plug their ears and say la 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 la. And
they befriended all of the people that were in the house, like the main people. Like, there's a woman who Googled how long to die in cold at 2:27 in the morning. Like, she sat with them at the trial. Like, she started a group called Peggy's Angels, which is the mom, and like they would go out to dinners and stuff like that. Like it's very clear that she was in their ear and making sure, it's not us, it's definitely Karen, and like, it's crazy. Like, what type of person kills somebody and leaves 50 drunken messages, like, screaming at him, where the fuck are you? Like, at a certain point, it's overkill. Like, you leave one or two messages, you might say, that makes sense. But to the extent she was going at it and calling other people trying to find him, she called her parents, and then she called back. Yeah, it's wild.
The fact that this even had to go to a trial is what fucking infuriates me about our criminal justice system.
As soon as she hired Alan Jackson, the attorney from LA, they upgraded her charges to second-degree murder because they thought she was just going to plead out. And they have text messages where it's like, hopefully she just pleads out and this will all go away. Like, that was what that family was saying to each other. The lead investigator said he hoped that she just killed herself.
Jesus. Like, this is like, this is like, our system is so fucking horribly corrupt. Like,
yeah,
they need to send an entire fucking multiple task force and just clean this entire town's department out. Like, top to bottom, they need to do a deep dive into every single person, get all these cops off the street, get the prosecutor, get everybody involved in this obvious bullshit, and throw them in jail.
Well, it's funny, they hired a special prosecutor for the second trial, and the dude they hired was literally Whitey Bulger's lawyer.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, does that not tell you everything you need to know?
Oh my fucking god!
And he is the scummiest scumbag. And the last two people that the defense called destroyed him so badly that he literally gave up. Like, you could see his soul leave his body. Like, completely embarrassed him. Like, one of them actually said to him, this guy's a doctor in like he does work for NASA, okay?
Yeah.
And like, his company was originally hired by the Department of Justice independently as part of that other investigation into the girl that they said committed suicide. Like, they were basically given parameters. Okay, this is what happened. I want you to tell me if it's possible. And that's all they had for information. They didn't know the case. They weren't hired by the defense. They were hired by the Department of Justice. And they determined there's no possible way this man was hit by a car. And and the judge wouldn't even let them say that they were hired by the FBI. The first jury thought that they were hired by the Karen Reed's insurance company, and they dismissed everything that they said. They said it was just noise because the insurance company was trying to get out of it. Like, she couldn't even say that they were hired by the FBI. That's how wild the whole case is. It like the rabbit hole is insane. I and that's why I couldn't look away. I actually went down one day, just to I don't know, take it all in, you know.
Good thing they didn't follow you home.
Yeah, right.
try to make sure you get hit by a car.
Yeah. But it's I just could not take it honestly. It definitely took a lot of content out of me because I was just fixed on it, you know. I couldn't look away.
No, I get it. It's stuff like that in particular gets me. Like whenever there's police corruption or anything like that, it always just endlessly fascinates me because it's because there's a party that's just gets so fucking righteously angry. And you're just how is this our country?
Yeah.
And you think of all the people who defend cops like it's their job, and then you see stuff like this happen, and not only are they're either silent or they defend it, and you're just what are we doing?
I'm gonna be honest. Typically, I would be pro police. I grew up on a Marine Corps base. My dad was a Marine. We lived 2 houses from the main gate. So literally every single day I went to school, I talked to an MP, military police officer, who was also basically a crossing guard at that point.
Yeah.
Just during that time, I talked to him all the time. My best friend, his father was the chief of police in Havelock, North Carolina. And I would sleep over their house all the time. So I grew up trusting, like I said, my cousin is a state trooper in Connecticut right now. He was previously a state trooper in Arizona. And I know he's one of the good ones. I just know, you know, and I think it's crazy to see it from that other lens, you know, I'm sure there is a part of it where I'm afforded maybe, you know, a little more luxury being white, you know, than other people, you know. I don't dispute that.
I definitely had a run-in with a officer of the law who was suspicious of me, definitely because of the content of not the content of my character. Let's just put it that way. It was not. And even then, I didn't hate cops as much as some other people that I grew up with did. Because my dad worked in corrections. I actually worked at a uniform store that's catered to law enforcement. So I would see cops every day and talk to some of them, and got to know some pretty chill ones. But yeah, I've definitely seen too much.
Yeah.
And I'm not even one of those people who just looks at the one random viral police shooting video that everyone is supposed to react to. I've just seen so many instances black people, white people, everybody just getting fucked over by police, and fundamentally nothing changing. And I'm just nah, this is definitely a problem. When I hear people defend police, it's usually oh, well, they're not shooting that many people. I'm that's not even the issue, bro. It's not even the shooting, it's everything else. It's it's framing people, it's the arresting people for no reason, it's the whole system is fucked.
Yeah, it's been an eye-opening kind of thing. You know, it really has.
as you said, no wonder. Yeah, that's definitely a reason. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm getting pulled over by the cops. I've seen too much shit. like I don't want to be in a position where I'm like one of those people. I'd rather be the passenger, sitting in the back of an Uber. and even then, I prefer when I breathe a little when I do get Uber, I breathe a little sigh of relief when my driver's white, because I know if I look at it, I see Tim or Tom, I'm like, oh, okay, we're good. But if I see Muhammad, I'm like, oh fuck, we might be cussed.
Well, let me tell you, every car that I've ever owned, I always put a United States Marine Corps sticker on it. Because a lot of cops are ex-military, especially ex-Marines. Like my cousin, that's a trooper, was also in the Marines. But when I was 18, my friend and I drove down to a mall in Connecticut. We were driving back, and I got pulled over. I don't remember why I got pulled over. I don't think I was speeding. I think it was something else. But like the officer, like came, got my info, talked to me for a minute. Then he came back. He said, "So, are you in the Marines? Are you going in the Marines?" I'm like, "No, my father is a gunnery sergeant. I'm just proud about it and everything." He goes, "All right." I think I might have been speeding. And he's like, "All right, well, why don't you just slow it down?" And like ever since then, I'm like, Marine Corps sticker always going on the car.
Hoorah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, my dad was in the military, but I don't think he had any stickers on his car. But one time he did get out of a ticket because he's in a secret society. He's actually like a high level Freemason, and like one day he got stopped, and the guy, like, I saw his like lodge thing or something like that, and he whispered something to him, and he just and we just drove off without incident. I was like, what the fuck was that? And he was like, oh, that's he's a brother, and he's a brother of knowledge. I'm like, okay. You can get out of tickets by joining the club. What the fuck? Like, there's some shit going on, like, with that basic stuff. I was getting a haircut, and it had came up that my dad was part of Masons, and this customer who was just hanging out was like, oh, your dad's a Mason. And he gave me a message, and he said some shit like, tell him the eye through the needle of the can was some shit. I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, y'all so fucking weird, bro. What? He's like that. He was like, yeah, tell him that, and that'll let him know that you spoke to a man of knowledge. I was like, oh, okay, buddy. And I told my dad, because I thought my dad was like, yeah, this guy's fucking full of it, and my dad was just like, okay. I was like, are you serious? I was like, that actually meant something. What the fuck? I was like, what do y'all be doing? Like, he actually was always trying to get me to join, but I never wanted to, because it was a lot. It was a lot of reading and rituals. I appreciate.
You just didn't want the robe in the hood.
Yeah, like and I didn't know if they did. I don't know if they were like the Masons that did the baby sacrifices. Or I didn't want to be involved in that shit. Like I was like, and my only thing, the one thing I don't like about religion, because I've gone to Catholic school before. I used to be forced to go to Sunday school. I don't like the pomp and circumstance. I don't like when they force you to wear the robes and do the, like, I like when I like a spiritual practice where you're kind of just free to, like, do what you like, hang, you maybe you do some prayers, maybe hang out, but you're kind of just doing everything. But when you're like forced to come to this place and read a bunch of this shit and learn and memorize, I'm like, I'm not trying to do all that, bro. It's like, I don't need this shit, bro. I got video games to play and anime to watch, man. I ain't trying to do all this, bro. So I was like, you got that, Dad. I'm gonna be okay over there. I've seen. Besides, at that point, I'd seen enough occult shit to know that there was something out there. So I was like, I don't need to join your club to be enlightened. I've already seen some crazy shit. Like I know stuff is crazy out there. I'm plenty woke enough. I don't need anything else. I'm good over here. Let's be sit out there want to believe the bullshit. I mean, I'm a believer now. Like there's some wild stuff. There's some wild stuff out there in this universe, bro. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. Without divulging anyone's secrets. There's some crazy shit. Speaking of before we get out of here, I wanted to get your take on the Venom game situation. There was I did say we should take this particular rumor with a grain of salt, but there is currently a rumor that Insomniac is doing a Venom game. Obviously, we knew all that. We've heard about that before, but the latest rumor says that it's coming out in 2026, and Wolverine is coming out in 2027. And that the Venom game is apparently bigger than Miles Morales, but smaller than Spider-Man 2. What do you think? What do you think of that?
I mean, obviously I'm gonna play it.
Of course.
I don't know how you do a Venom game though. Like, I mean, I know he can be the lethal protector, but like, I don't think of him that way. And I'm sure they'd find a way to make it work.
Of course.
Would it still be Harry though, or?
I would imagine. I think when I think of a Venom game, I think of like a lethal protector. I think in the case of the Sonic universe, I would use a Venom game to introduce Silk, and have it be like Eddie Brock gets the symbiote, and he's recruited in to help Carnage because he's like a citywide threat.
Yeah. I'm fine with it if they do that. It'd be crazy if Wolverine is still that far away.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be the reverse. I do think there's a very good chance the Venom game is still a thing. I think it's going to be reversed. I think Wolverine is coming out in 2026. I think Venom is going to come out in 2027 as like a lead-in to Spider-Man 3.
See, I think the benefit that they have is that they can really kind of just keep building on New York City.
Yeah.
And like they've already kind of got it built, and it's not like they have to build it from the ground up necessarily.
Exactly.
And I think that's a good thing. Like I feel like I would never fault. You feel like some people would probably like, it's just recycled, but like no, why do they have to redesign New York City? It's fucking New York City,
Yeah, plus on top of that, they have like a ton of unused Venom assets from Spider-Man 2 because there's a lot of different Venom stuff that was going to make it into the game. They got cut. There was supposed to be like a symbiote Miles section of the game. There's supposed to be more symbiote enemies. There was like we heard that like 90% of the stuff Tony Todd recorded didn't even make it into the game. So they definitely have plenty of assets.
Yeah.
That would allow them to expedite a Venom game for sure.
I'm all about Venom, so I'd be fine with it. Listen, at the end of the day, I want to play superhero games. I love superhero games, sure. And if you just make a good superhero game, which Insomniac literally always does,
yes,
let's do it.
Yeah, it would definitely be disappointing if Wolverine did come out in 2027 instead of 2026. But if we did still get an Insomniac game this year, I wouldn't be crying about it because it's like at the end of the day, I'm still getting a new Insomniac game.
Yeah. I don't feel like we're getting anything this year. I mean, Gamescom is coming up, and I know that has turned into kind of like the in between.
Yeah.
Event if you will, between Summer Game Fest and the Game Awards. And I do know that games are going to get announced there and everything because they have the opening night live and it's a big deal.
Me and you in particular know of one game that's going to get announced.
I wasn't even going to allude to that, but
I am.
Yeah, could they do it there?
Probably not.
I don't think so.
No, my money's still on a PlayStation showcase.
I think that there are certain games that do not need the big PR buildup. Okay, you don't have to announce it super far in advance. You can say, "Hey, Marvel's Venom is coming out in 3 months," and it will go from there because the internet is that connected at this point, I feel.
Yeah.
And I just don't see how people miss it. You know what I mean? So
I that's
kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's kind of a something that's not like with Spider-Man 2, as much as people bitched about the marketing, the marketing ended up being great for it. They started it end of May. It was okay, end of May, here's the gameplay trailer, and then nonstop pretty much promotion from end of May to October when the game ultimately came out. So they chose that window, and I can definitely see them doing that again for all their upcoming releases.
Yeah, I definitely feel like these studios are getting a little wiser to the internet and just how useful it can be.
Yeah, Oblivion remaster. Look at the Oblivion remaster.
Yeah, just dropped it and it was boom. Yeah. And I think it sold well too. I mean, I did it on Game Pass, but
it sold insanely well. Yeah. It worked. And I think for certain games, obviously a new IP from a new studio, don't do that. Right. But if you're an established studio and you have a game that a lot of people are looking forward to going to play, you can definitely kind of dial back the marketing because that people are going to buy the game regardless, especially if it's good. You can afford to be a little, chiller.
I know firsthand of one studio in particular, and I'm not going to say who it is, who has absolutely changed their approach to how they announce their game and when it's coming out because of just how much pressure it was when a game got delayed or they didn't tweet something for 3 days. I do feel like gamers can be their own worst enemy 100%. And they get a little carried away. You don't need to have a drip feed of something every single day. They have their process. Just respect it, and but I do feel like I feel like for established studios like Insomniac, okay, or Grand Theft Auto 6, for example, they don't have to say shit. Nope. They can just drop the game and it's gonna be a a wildfire. You know what I mean?
Especially GTA 6. They don't have to say shit. They don't have to do it. They don't have to drop another trailer at all.
Right, like The Witcher 4, they could start 2 months before the game's gonna come out and just be boom, here it's coming out. This is our trailer, and then just start promoting it. You know what I mean? And Insomniac is in the same position with any of their Marvel games. Here's the game. It's coming out in 3 months, and then just slowly start the process.
Yeah. And I feel like that's kind of all they need. As long as there's a legitimate review period, I think they can be a lot looser and just be we're just going to wait until we're 100. Not only are we 100% ready, the game is done. We're ready to ship. I think that's a good starting point for some studios to start marketing heavily when you're actually ready to ship.
Yeah.
So there's no chance of a delay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and things do happen. Obviously, it sucks when there has to be a delay, but that's always a catch-22 as well. Well, hey, we're really sorry we have to delay this day. And everybody bitches about it and cries and moans. I do think that aspect is getting a little bit better though, because there's been so many games that just said, well, let's just get it out. Like this Mind's Eye situation.
Oh, holy shit! What a disaster!
Yeah, like that game obviously should have been delayed. You know?
I hesitate to even call that a game. That's definitely closer to vaporware than a game. It's more like they hyped it up as like a Grand Theft Auto competitor, but it's more like the day before competitor. Because I was like I was streaming the showcase for IO Interactive, and they had the Mind's Eye section because I stayed to watch it because I was curious. Mainly was there for 007, but I was here in the Hitman, but I was curious about the Mind's Eye gameplay, and I was just watching the whole time. I was like, "Oh, this game looks like ass. They're going to release this. This looks like absolute dog shit. They can't release this." Like what? Like I was because I was surprised. I was like, "Wait, this comes out in like 2 days." This is. I was like, are you serious?
Yeah, I think in general gamers are not patient enough when a game is not out yet.
Definitely, it's weird. Like the way the tweets I see people saying Insomniac is so fucking weird.
Yeah, and I like not so I would not be shocked to see them just say nothing, ever. Like
I'd be so petty. I'd be so petty.
Yeah, I can't. I've gotten a lot better lately at seeing tweets that annoy me and saying nothing.
If I legitimately, if I was working with the Insomniac social team, every time someone sent a snarky tweet about Wolverine or it was like, where's the Wolverine trailer, I would have them put together just a teaser of just Wolverine's feet, and then I would just use that to respond to every message. New Wolverine trailer, here you go.
Yeah.
just Wolverine feet. I just said nothing but Wolverine feet pics, and
make them hairier and hairier.
Yeah. That's all it said. That's all in the post in response to every time like Wolverine's canceled. Does this look canceled to you? Feet pics.
Speaking of feet, okay, this is gonna sound weird, and I've almost tweeted a few times, but have not because I'm like it is kind of weird. But so like about 9 years ago, I had an issue with my legs where it's called like lymphedema or something like that, where basically like the blood circulation almost reverses, so it's like pushing out instead of in, and it would cause my legs to like swell with like fluids, and like they at one point on both legs they burst, and my legs looked like Deadpool for like a long time. And once we finally got that fixed, I basically had to wear compression socks all the time since then. But like strangely, like because it was so hard to bend over and put them on, like I just stopped for a couple days and like kept noticing, wow, it's not bothering me. It's not bothering me. And now I'm on like I've not worn a pair of socks in 3 weeks. And it's the weirdest feeling in the world because like they're not swelling, and like it's a huge win for me because they bunch up around my ankle, like the front of my ankle, and like it hurts throughout the day. And I just like if you looked at that part of my foot, which I would not wish on anybody, like you could see permanent lines from the years of them just bunching up right at that arch on the inner arch. So, and another thing I found out, I did tweet this. Okay, I hate going to doctors, and because of it, I did have to go to my main doctor. And apparently, in the year and a half since I last saw her, I lost 33 pounds.
Hey,
which I was not expecting at all. Like I stepped on the scale and it said a number, and I was like, "Wait, what?" I just looked at her like I saw a ghost. And she's like, "Oh, that's really good." I'm like, how much was I last time? That's way low, and I might have lost even more since then because like I have not been eating much like through all this. Like it's weird. So I wasn't trying. I need to lose weight. I know that, but
Actually, actually went vegan recently.
Really?
Yeah.
I've heard carnivore diet is actually better.
I've tried both.
Yeah. I cannot picture not eating meat. Like honestly, meat is so good.
Yeah, yeah. Jay is a glizzy gobbler for sure.
I did have a glizzy for lunch today.
I just wanted to give it a try.
Yeah.
Just to see how it feels. You know, see if it can help me lose weight faster. I'm enjoying it so far. There's some good food to be had when you're and it feels like I'm less incentivized to like snack because I used to be tempted to like order like chicken wings or something like that, but now that it's like now that my options are so much more limited now I'm just kind of now instead of just ordering stuff from Uber Eats, I like kind of just stacked my kitchen with vegan stuff, and now I'm just like always I'm not even that hungry now because I'm like the food is so filling, and I'm just like, and I have like plenty of good snacks now, so it's just like I'm enjoying it so far.
Yeah, I like to do a lot of chicken. I love grilling chicken because we'll get like marinades and like Caribbean jerk and
no salt.
Teriyaki. When they did my blood work, I had my sodium levels were very low, and I looked at the nurse and I said, "It's because I don't like salt."
There you go.
So there you go. They actually said my sodium levels were very low. So I mean I think I just use things that already have the salt in it.
Yeah.
But I don't intentionally, but like I watch a lot of cooking videos and everybody uses lots of salt, and we're not going to rehash that argument again.
Yeah. I don't use lots of salt, but I definitely sprinkle in the kosher salt, you know, for the flavoring. But extra little something is nice. But the funny thing is, like, while I've been vegan, like YouTube is fucking keeps recommending me like all these food videos of, like people eating giant burgers and steaks and it was like they literally recommended me a steak cooking ASMR video. I was like, what the fuck is this?
All right, so I think this is a good question. Did you see the video of Keith David finding out?
I did. I may have teared
up. That was really cool. So here's the thing, okay? My favorite moment didn't happen. Okay. So in February of 2020, I was on a plane going to Chicago. We were supposed to be going to Final Combat. And at Final Combat, I was going to record Spawn in Mortal Kombat 11. And as part of that, they were supposed to have Todd McFarlane and Keith David there. Because Keith David was the voice of Spawn, right? I'm not like.
Did he voice one in that?
I'm pretty sure he was, right? Spawn. Keith. Oh wait, that's not doing it. I thought Keith David was supposed to be there.
Only Spawn I know is Michael Jai White.
Yes, he was the voice of Spawn. Okay, so we were supposed to have time to meet with both Todd McFarlane and Keith David, and because COVID started, they canceled, and instead I got to hang out in a hotel room with Alan and Cammy and Uncaged Games and Caboose, and still get to record Spawn gameplay. So
I mean, it still sounds like a win.
That it was a win, but like, you know, meeting Todd McFarlane and Keith David would have been pretty cool too. They actually gave us a Spawn Mortal Kombat action figure and a comic that was supposed to be given out at the event. Ooh. That is so rare that somebody recently messaged me on Instagram because I had like posted a picture of the comic, and they're like, "Listen, we're a company that like lists graded comics, and somebody submitted this, and we have no record of it existing, but you have a picture on Instagram, so can you just verify like what this is?" And I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, you should have asked for $500.
No, I just answered the question because
You're too nice, Jay.
Yeah.
You need to be more of a capitalist.
Yeah, I do. I do. But Jean Grey this week, before we go, real quick.
Yeah, I didn't play the early access because I don't feel like trying to make it work on my laptop. But I made some content on it. I watched the streams. Consensus seems to be that Jean Grey is kind of OP.
She's interesting. And I might not have played her right. I only played like 2 games with her, and it was against AI, and I did pretty well. I watched King Greek's video, and she's interesting. I don't like the Phoenix being a separate entity, kind of attached to her.
You don't like it. You don't like her having a stand.
No, I don't like that. And my brother came over for the 4th of July, and I loaded it up, and I was showing it to him. And I'm like, was the Phoenix ever like this in the comic? He's like, no.
Yeah,
but I mean, I know it's their take. I think I don't love her second costume either.
Honestly, this is the first character they've released where I don't like the base outfit or the store outfit for day one. I feel like the only redeeming quality of Jean's store outfit is that her ass is hanging out. Like even then, it's just like, like it's like, I'm just not a fan. I kind of wish they gave her like a classic, one of the classic, either her classic X-Men uniform, like the retro uniform, like they already have it for Psylocke. And or her classic like Jean Grey take, or Phoenix uniform.
Let me tell you what they did give us. They did give us Mama Frost.
Oh boy,
her Phoenix Force outfit.
Yes,
that is spectacular.
Oh yeah,
that is definitely. Once I get that costume, I'm gonna take her all the way to Lord. I think this battle pass is insane. I cannot believe they put Symbiote Spider-Man in the battle pass.
And they put the Bully Maguire dance in there too.
That they literally could have released that for $50 and people would have bought it and not bitched about it. 100%. And I think it is insane, and I actually disagree with them doing it. I think they should have absolutely sold it separate.
I actually think it's smart after thinking about it. Like, sure, they could.
People might just buy the battle pass to that.
Now they have to, because I was thinking about it from like a business perspective. Like, why would they put it? Because I know NetEase loves their money and knows how to make it. So I'm like, why put it? Why not just make it a bundle? And I thought, okay, wait a minute. If you put it, if you put it page 8 on the battle pass and you make it premium, so they can only get access to it, it's like, okay, well now instead of just a bunch of people flocking just to the store for this one skin for Spider-Man, well now they have to buy the battle pass because he's not only is he on the premium track, he's on page like 8 of the premium. So they have to either play the game a lot after buying the battle pass,
or they're going to pay up to it,
or they have to pay all the way up to page 8 for the level skip. So it's actually smart because they're making more money than if they had just put it as a bundle. I feel like.
Yeah, we'll see. I still think it's crazy.
It is
that Jeff one is so good.
The Squirrel Girl is amazing.
it is good for Squirrel Girl, mostly because you don't have to look at her.
I think especially the Jeff MVP animation. That's so. It's so
they like hit out the park with Jeff. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that battle pass slaps. Like that's their best battle pass by far.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then I love that even if you try to insta-lock Jean and don't get her, you can still have fun this season because of some of the changes. Like I know for sure if I can't insta-lock Jean, I'm immediately insta-locking Wolverine because he's absolutely fucking broken with the Jean team up this season. It's fucking disgusting.
You know, at first I was like, oh, I don't remember. He wasn't part of the Phoenix Five, but then I remember the storyline that he does get the Phoenix Force at the end of time when it's just him and Thor left.
Yep. And I was watching Caboose actually. He was he finally I watched part of it live actually because he was playing he was in the same lobby. He was paired up with like a bunch of top pro players and streamers like Necros and SK, and he was on his Wolverine.
Yeah.
And he fucking farmed them, bro. That was crazy.
I'm telling you, like, the reason I don't play Wolverine is because I've watched Caboose play Wolverine, and he's just fucking good at it. I don't get it.
I learned him. He's really good, but Caboose not only was good with him, but the team up is so OP. Like he was playing against one of the people he playing against, Japanese Curry. He's one of the best tank players in the world. He's a Captain America main.
Yeah.
And Japanese Curry couldn't play the game. Like Caboose was just farming him over and over again with Wolverine. It was so funny. Japanese Curry sitting there streaming like, yeah, I'm just gonna ban Wolverine every game. It's like we can't do this. Yeah, Low Gang definitely got a big W in this patch. I cannot if I can't get Jean, I'm definitely going to be playing Wolverine a lot more this season.
Yeah, I have actually started playing Punisher a little bit.
Oh.
And I realized why everybody played Punisher, like why he's easy mode.
Like,
yeah, I didn't. I can't. He just keeps getting these fucking awesome costumes. She's like, well, I got to play him. So I've been playing him a little bit.
He does so much damage.
I like Ultron, but he can be tough at times.
Yeah.
So I would like to get him to Lord. I feel like my next Lord will probably be Thing because I feel like they made some good adjustments to him.
Oh yeah, he's definitely a big beneficiary for sure. The new ability they gave him, he basically can shit on flyers now. Like it's crazy.
Good. Like, yeah, and I'll probably get Jeff once I get his symbiote skin because it's so great.
Yeah,
I do like the different shade of rocket color. Like a blue Rocket Raccoon is kind of cool.
Yeah, I definitely, even if once again they didn't make any changes to competitive, but it feels like at least now there's like more reason to play the game for at least at the start of the season, even if you don't play competitive. I definitely will try to get the Jean gold skin or whatever. I'll get that out the way. But other than that, like I'm looking forward to going through the battle pass, trying out the changes to Thing and Wolverine, even Jeff. Like they buffed his team up with Venom. Obviously going to be trying to play Jean as much as possible, but it looks fun. This is like it's going to be fun for a bit.
I've actually been playing a little bit of Penny. I'm not like necessarily great with her, but I'm doing pretty competent.
Oh, she's great. Oh yeah, she definitely got a lot better with the new update.
Yeah, I made it to Platinum 3, and then we lost, and I went back to Gold 1. Oh. And this morning I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna play one game and try to get back to Platinum 3, and I'll be done.
That's how they get you.
And I started as Moon Knight on offense. You know, we made it to the end. And then when we went on defense, I switched to Penny. And I do feel like that switch is what won us the game. Like, I actually felt like I really did a good job. So.
Yeah, Penny, if you know what you're doing, Penny on defense is really strong, especially on certain maps.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm like great as her, but I have been enjoying Penny a little bit more.
She's good. I legitimately don't think I've played competitive in like a month at least. Like I think I'm still at like I think I'm still plat 1. Like I like I didn't even like I'm probably like 3 games away from diamond, and I just haven't felt like playing.
I just needed to play my 10 games with Eastwood, and Otter needed to get to gold 3. So we just kind of ran a bunch of games the other day, and I just ended up at platinum, and I'm like, oh damn. And then when that happened, I couldn't play with Otter anymore. So like I had to back out, and I guess Otter got to gold with Eastwood, so that's good.
Mr. Big Shot. I felt like because I was playing a bunch of the auto chess mode when that came out. That became my new obsession, and then when that went away, I was like, yeah, well, I don't feel like playing as much. I finished the events, and now that season 3 looks interesting, I'll probably tap back in. I'm still not in a hurry to play competitive, especially this time of the season. It's like even worse than usual. So, and I'm not sweating anyway because it's not even something that I'm interested in. Like back when I thought the competitive was like better design, where I was like, oh, if I just climb enough, I'll get in the lobbies with like competent teammates and like really fun competitive games. And when I found out that's not the case, I was like, well, it's like there's really no point in like climbing up to a certain degree. At that point, it's just for bragging rights, just to say that you made it to this point.
I never cared about that. I just wanted the skins.
Even then though, like at a certain point, like once enough people realize how inflated the system was, like even certain ranks aren't even a flex anymore. Like you say you're a GM player, I'm like, yeah, that doesn't mean anything. So, like you basically have to be one of them all to have any like bragging rights, and even it's like, yeah, I don't, yeah, like no one cares. I'm just in it for the skin, and then I'm out.
Yeah,
but the one thing interesting bit they did add is that they're adding a new competitive mode. They didn't elaborate on it even behind the scenes. But not that I could tell you anyway on the stream if they did elaborate, but they actually didn't elaborate yet. But they mentioned in the DevVision video that they're adding a new competitive mode. It's going to roll out during season 3.5 when Blade comes. So that has me very curious about what exactly that is going to be, because I do feel like there needs to be something else. Obviously, there's many changes, and people have been suggesting a lot of them how to fix the competitive mode that they do have it currently, but adding a whole new mode to competitive, I wonder what exactly that's going to look like, what they're cooking there. Because that could be potentially interesting. Give people another way to play competitively, maybe in a different way. I'm wondering if it's going to be like a MOBA mode, where it's, this is me coping, but maybe like a MOBA type mode where it's like PV EVP or something like that, because or rather than just another Overwatch type of mode. I'm curious what they would be doing there if they're doing a whole new competitive mode instead of just fixing the existing one.
It's actually NBA Jam Marvel Edition.
I wouldn't be surprised if they added, like, I mean, they've already added a soccer mode. Right. so they they've done soccer, they've done Splatoon, they most recently did TFT. Might as well do basketball. I'd play it, but yeah, I do hope they eventually add that PvE story mode. I think that's going to be a hit whenever it does drop. And I hope they add the auto chess back. I really love that mode.
I found it to be way too long. Like whenever I entered the match, it was like 45 minutes.
That's not what she said.
Yeah. So I played it long enough to get the thumbs up.
Yeah, I played obsessively with it. I got all the emotes and stuff on 2 different accounts, and on my main account, I was like, I ended the run at like 24th rank in the world.
Nice.
And once I got into the top 100, I was like, I could climb higher than this, and then I ended up ended at 24. Actually beat the guy who was number one like multiple times. I fucking kicked his ass. Actually, he was talking shit in the chat, and I shut him up. he never talked. He never spoke again.
That's funny.
Yeah, I love that. That's always funny. Like this game is probably the most toxic game I've played, and I was a 2K player. Because even in the auto chess mode, people were like being fucking toxic. I was like, because I thought by playing the auto chess mode, I would escape like the toxicity of ranked. And even in that mode, they're like shitters in the chat talking shit, and it's always the worst player in the lobby.
Yeah, that's why I have game chat off.
Yeah, I feel like there's like no value in having it on. Like you obviously, ideally in a game like this, you would want like to chat on or you want to be in the voice talking to people. In Rivals, there's like no value in it. Like just turn it all off. Like you're not going unless you're one of those people who farms toxicity for content. Just turn it off. Like there's never anything. There's almost never anything there that's going to be worth having. Yeah. They just put it off. Let's put it off. All right, let's get out of here. I know Jay is operating at about 85%. I too have a little thing in my back that was acting up today, so I want to kick back and watch some anime and relax. Maybe do a little yoga.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably just gonna go lay down and watch something, I guess.
Watch some Ironheart.
I probably should start that.
Yeah, finish Ironheart. Yeah, if you can get to the first 3 episodes, you will enjoy parts of the next 3.
Fair enough.
Okay. Appreciate everyone hanging out. Hopefully we'll be back next week and not in another month. I know.
Yeah, my bad, guys. I got old.
It's happens to the best of us. I don't know if hopefully there aren't any mass layoffs this week, but I know there is a new state of play coming up relatively soon for Ghost of Yote. I will be streaming that live, and then whenever that happens, we'll talk about it on the show. I appreciate all of you for popping up and continue to support the stream. We do appreciate it a lot. You guys are the best. I'm Sadot The Gamer.
I am still not Casual Avenger.
Zip it up and zip it out. Peace. My name's